Hi, I'm Jay, and this is Jess from Tin Can Creative Co.
Yeah, and today we're here to talk to you guys about our newest renovation to the Airstream.
Yeah, we're actually really excited to share this renovation with you because it's improved our lives considerably.
So we've been living on the road for over a year now, and our original goal was to be on the road for a year. Now that we are going to prolong that, we figured, hey, why not make the space a little more optimized for our lifestyle?
Before we hit the road, we actually pulled all the furniture out of the Airstream, and we noticed that there was a ton of space in there, and the furniture that we had was kind of awkward in the way that it was positioned, and we're like, we had an idea of how we could make it better, but we were a little bit scared to take any chances because we had already spent 6 weeks working on the trailer, and we were scared that it was going to push to like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, maybe longer. We're also very nervous that we'd end up with less space.
Storage-wise.
Yeah, storage-wise, because we had a certain amount of things we were bringing and a place for them, and we were nervous that those plans would go away.
An Airstream itself, I mean, we love having an Airstream, but they're not known for their storage space.
We wanted to keep as much storage of that storage space as we possibly could.
And someone has a lot of camera gear that takes up a lot of space.
I'm getting rid of a lot of it, so it's good. Another thing that was a little frightening about doing this renovation, especially before we hit the road, is, I mean, when you're driving down the road, you're basically like subjecting everything in the trailer to like a minor earthquake. We had to build up furniture to withstand that, so it was a little frightening to build cabinetry that would handle that kind of abuse.
So why did we want to do this renovation in the first place?
Yeah, we had a lot of reasons for wanting to do this. I mean, a lot of it had to do with the feng shui of the trailer, or like the way things were laid out. Our old dinette was kind of positioned in the middle of the trailer, and it went really far out into the hallway, kind of made this choke point, like going back and forth.
The couch, the jackknife couch that we had, was facing inward into the trailer, so when you were sitting at it, you would just be facing inside the trailer rather than being able to use these awesome windows behind us.
Another thing was that the combination of the dinette location and the couch location. Like if we had a few people over and people were on the couch and people were on the dinette, people at the dinette either had their backs facing the people at their couch, or they were constantly like looking over their shoulder, trying to have a conversation. It was just super awkward.
We also didn't really sit on the couch that often. I don't know if it was I think it was because of the placement of it and the fact that it wasn't super comfortable. So then it ended up just being a place we would put a bunch of stuff, so it collected clutter and wasn't very useful to us. All you need to know is that it wasn't very comfortable.
Yeah, we were not happy with it, but we hit the road anyway because we were excited to hit the road, and we dealt with it for a year. We decided we had to make some changes.
So we've kind of poo-pooed the old layout quite a bit, but I will say it was great that we did live with it for a year just to kind of understand where we could make improvements and kind of dream it up instead of just blindly going for it and not knowing if it would have improved our lives. We definitely thought about it for a long time.
So one problem about being on the road and living on the road full time is you kind of limit it in the amount of tools you have and the places you can work on your trailer. So we knew we wanted to do this renovation, but we're wandering around the West and we don't have a lot of friends here. We couldn't go to a campground and book a 2-week stay and then rip everything out of the Airstream and also buy a bunch of tools and be working on it. Like, nobody's gonna stand for that. And we also can't do that while out boondocking.
So luckily, our good friends Keely and Vegard just moved to Albany, Oregon. We kind of ran this by them of, hey, we want to see you guys and spend time, but also, can we work on our trailer in your driveway?
Yeah.
Which they are great friends of ours and had welcomed us open arms, and Vegard is also someone who's super handy and has quite literally every tool you could possibly need.
Yeah, he's got this like vintage planer that we pulled out when we were planing boards in the street. They just moved into this neighborhood and we were just out there working, doing woodwork all day, every day.
For 20 days straight.
Yeah, the neighbors know he's an industrious person.
Yeah.
I think we help solidify that.
Yeah. Plus it was really great to just be with friends for that amount of time and be able to spend time with them and get to kind of explore the town since they had just moved there too. We got to kind of explore it with them and have a great time, so.
Yeah. Thank you, Keely and Vegard. We'll probably thank you again at the end of this video, but we're thanking you here just to be extra thankful. Even though we had a place to work on this thing, we only had a limited amount of time. We needed to be down for a dentist appointment of all things in the Vegas area within the next month. Within 20 days or so, we ripped apart the trailer, took a ton of trips to hardware stores, sanded things, painted things, screwed things. a weird thing to say. Did some wiring and rewiring of existing things. We probably learned more about foam than we really need to know. We hired an upholsterer. We ended up with a layout that we really love, and we want to share that with you. So here you go.
Here it is. Insert music.
There's a tracking shot. There's a tracking shot.
Yeah,
and then it's going down the table. And like burners are going on in slow motion. Coffee being made in slow motion.
Yeah, I see it. So this renovation is really two parts. The galley area and the wraparound dinette.
Over in the galley area, it's parallel to our existing kitchen. So one of the goals of it was to be able to give us more space to prepare food and also a standing workspace so that we can work there throughout the day and put things out, stand near it, work, standing workspace.
Exactly, because our previous amount of counter space was this. Insert video of the previous counter space.
For the galley space, we thought about building custom cabinetry. It seemed plausible with the tools we had, but we kind of wanted to just warp ahead of all that. So we used cabinets from IKEA. Yeah, we got two 24-inch wide cabinets from IKEA, put those in place, started with that. That's kind of our foundation. We put those up on 2x2s.
One of the things that was a challenge was the fact that one of the wheel wells is under that space, so that used to be hidden by our old dinette. So we did a lot of brainstorming about what we could do with that area, and we used to have to hide our garbage can and Cooper's dog food in front of the fridge. And so we thought it would be cool to have some sort of cubby space that we could put our internet gear, and those types of things, the garbage, Cooper's food, other stuff. Battery monitor, and those types of things all in one space, but it doesn't have to be in a cabinet per se. We made that a cubby, which is great for all those random items I just talked about.
Another thing that we had to take into account in laying this out was there's a wiring conduit that runs along the wall from the front and back of the trailer. And this thing came out from the wall a few inches. So we actually chose to mount the cabinets a few inches away from the wall, and it gave us some extra storage back there for things like yoga mats or backpacks or just flexible
soft items.
Yeah, thin, flexible things, which is nice because they take up space too. Another thing we had to do with the IKEA cabinets, even though they're great and they have nice closures and all that, they could still swing open when you're driving. So we had to add some RV latches that lock. That was pretty easy on the doors that open up. But for the drawers, there's nothing really positive to attach the latch to. So I had to build this T-shaped frame behind all the drawers and mount the latches there and put latches on the back of the drawers. So it was a little tricky, but it actually works super well. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Stoked. So for the countertop, instead of using like an IKEA countertop or butcher block, which is pretty heavy, we used 3/4 inch grade A maple. We also used it here on this thing that we're sitting at. It's just really nice wood. Sanded it, did some slight routing around the edges, used Varathane whitewash wood stain to kind of brighten it up and make it super white. And then we polyed it with a 3X Varathane polyurethane to protect it and make it easier to clean.
So the new space really makes the trailer feel larger. Counter gives us plenty of room to do work. There's a place to put plants, which is really nice. It just definitely feels a lot less cluttered than it used to be too. Now, the wraparound dinette. We have seen other Airstreamers with a similar layout, and we definitely really wanted something like this in the future when we were thinking about having a dinette. And just a place where we could sit and eat, have conversations where we're all kind of gathered around one space instead of, like we said before, our dinette being in the middle of the trailer and someone having to turn around and talk to somebody at the couch. So this was, important for us to enjoy the windows and the actual view of the outside and yeah. Plus now, it was important for us to not lose space for guests to stay, so it was important for us to be able to lower the tabletop and be able to still convert the dinette to a bed.
In building this out, we kind of took another shortcut as well. Like Airstream built like a super nice dinette, had benches, it was really light, it was well crafted, it had curved plywood, and it was a shame to throw it away because they had already done a bunch of good work. So we decided to reuse the benches, turn 2 benches into 3 benches. And that involved cutting the backs off of the benches because the benches are kind of against the walls already, so there's a back created by the walls of the Airstream. We took the backs of the old dinette and then we built the front of a 3rd seat we're sitting on right now. And then we supported this with some creative bracing. This whole thing, because we were using existing things in a really weird curved space, involved just a lot of experimentation. So we were trying various ways of supporting this thing, and we found using 1x1 aluminum tubing, riveted to the wall and screwed into the benches worked really well. We also built a custom box around our electrical stuff up front. That custom box protects all the electrical gear, but it also serves as a support for the bench. And then we built some new bench tops out of, it's a weird measurement, what is it, 11/32? Yeah, 11/32 fir plywood. We're sitting on those right now. They're super supportive. We got the measurements by getting some cardboard and tracing the shapes of the walls and then cutting them out. So,
because curves are really hard.
Yeah, we learned building anything in Airstream is just awkward. It's like building something in a crooked house. You can't just build it square. You have to adapt to the surroundings.
So we had also wanted to freshen up the look too, and paint the dinette. We had actually painted it previously. It used to be covered in a weird fabric, and then we painted that sort of like a robin's egg blue. And then when we redid this dinette, we decided to go with a lighter color. So we chose just sort of like a minty green from Valspar furniture paint that we just got at Lowe's. We just carry some of that around for, with a dinette, it's gonna get scuffed. I mean, it already got scuffed in the first week of being used, so we just carry around some of that paint as extra paint for touch-ups and things like that.
For a dinette tabletop, we use the same 3/4 inch maple that we used for the galley top. Treat it the same way. It's actually mounted to a Springfield 3-stage air cushion pedestal, which allows it to safely, smoothly be lowered into place. And this area could be turned into a bed for people that visit, or just if we want to lounge around and watch a movie and not be in our bed. I should also mention that when it is lowered into place, it's not simply resting on the pedestal, it's also resting on wooden supports on the benches for stability.
One of the things that we did try to account for when we did our first renovation to the Airstream before we set off on the road was to do our flooring throughout the entire floor, not just to the current layout, because we knew one day we might actually change up the layout. So we did the flooring everywhere that we could, under where the old dinette was, under the entire couch, and that made it a lot easier when we did want to change up the layout. So
yeah, pro tip.
So as our time was ending in Oregon at our friend's house, the actual furniture was done. So the dinette was done, the tabletops were all done, everything was installed, but we still didn't really have time to deal with the foam cushions and the upholstery because it was just, time was running up. Jay luckily did a lot of research and found a foam place in Vegas called Galaxy Foam. And our plan literally was to arrive in Vegas, go right to the foam place. They actually come in and take measurements while you're there. And that made it super easy to just be able to talk it through in person with somebody. I couldn't imagine doing this over the phone or, email, even to get the curves. And it was great because they literally took the plywood templates of the bench top and were able to match the curves perfectly. That was really great. We got the foam, and then literally right after they cut the foam, they gave us the foam. We drove right to an upholsterer that was recommended by Galaxy Foam. What's his name?
Oscar. Oscar's Upholstery.
Gotta call Oscar.
North Vegas.
He's great. We were only going to be in the Vegas area for a few days, and we quite literally rolled up. He had all these fabric swatches, picked out a fabric. He's like, when do you need it by? And we were like, Tuesday, and that was maybe a Thursday that we showed up with the foam. And he was like, no problem, gonna order the fabric today, it's gonna show up on Monday, I'm going to sew your cushion, like sew the upholstery Tuesday, which was the day we were picking it up. So a lot of hustle, and it was a little bit crazy. It worked.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of decisions made very frantically.
Yeah.
Maybe if we spent a week or two planning it and measuring everything and like getting everything perfect, it'd be even better, but like we're thrilled with what happened.
Totally thrilled, and totally recommend Galaxy Foam and Oscar.
Yeah, definitely check them out. Benefits!
So, the benefits.
Yeah, what did we get out of doing all this work?
We got more storage space overall. As we were loading up all of the areas, like we had taken all the stuff that was stored previously and put that in our friend's garage, and so as we were loading it back up, we were like, oh, we have more storage than we had before. Cooper.
I should also mention that storage is like easier to use too. Like the IKEA cabinets make things like way easier to access than like digging underneath our dinette for our pots and pans. You know, it's nice to just pull some doors open, grab your cast iron pan versus digging. Our shoes actually have a place to go. When we walk into the trailer, we have a little storage cubby underneath the bench there, and we could put our most used shoes in there so we can move them out of the way when we get in and out of the trailer.
Also, the trash can and Cooper's food have a dedicated space now. They're not taking up space in front of the fridge, which makes it feel a lot larger in here.
So the galley top gives us way more room to prep food. Also a place to serve dinner. We can put stuff out there, serve
Buffet
ourselves.
style.
It's also a nice standing desk area if you want to stand up for a bit and not be sitting around.
We have way more room for guests to sit around a table and enjoy a nice meal, or just hang out or play a game, or do whatever.
It's so good. Okay.
Speaking of sitting around, our cushions are so much more comfortable. Like it's so much better than what we had. I mean, what we had before, it was kind of like, imagine floral foam, but not as fun to squeeze.
Right, they were just kind of permanently sloped because they were just older. It was just older foam.
So it's a lot easier to access our battery monitor and internet gear. Traveling a lot, you have to reset the router every so often. It's nice to be able to like access that a lot faster.
And we have a lot more power outlets that we could access easily as well.
One of the best things probably is just the way it opened up the center of the trailer. There's a lot of room in there to like walk past one another. We're not constantly bumping into one another.
So much room for activities.
Yeah, I mean, you could do stretching or yoga.
Actually,
space.
I think the most important is that Cooper's bed still fits
Oh yeah.
under the dinette, and he has a dedicated space still.
Cooper still has his room.
He still has his room, and he loves it down there.
Yeah, he does. He even goes there when we turn this into a bed.
He still goes under there.
A few things that also happened during the layout. We got rid of our television because we were like never using it. It was just this big black box on the wall that people would be like, oh, cool, you have a television, awesome. And it's like,
We never use it.
Don't really use it. And that's been replaced with a plant shelf,
Yeah.
which is nicer to look at.
We have a plant shelf, and it actually kind of covers up the thermostat too, which, I mean, not that it's an eyesore, but that was one thing we didn't want to move. So that's our renovation that we wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully it inspires you to, if you're on the road or planning to do a renovation to your trailer, to don't be afraid. It is scary and there's a lot of things that go into it. But if you have the space to do it and you have the time, and it's gonna make your life way better as far as living in your trailer, which it's a small space as it is. So every amount you can maximize as far as space goes, it's gonna make your life so much easier and better. So.
Yeah, and compared to like renovating your kitchen in your house or like a room in your house, it's trickier in some ways because it's got to be mounted in place, but it's usually a lot cheaper and easier and could be done in the same amount of time, or actually way less time.
Right.
So you might as well go for it if you think it's going to improve your life.
Jay did a great spreadsheet, and maybe he'll share this on the blog. I think the total renovation ended up costing us $2,000.
Maybe it was $2,100, but it wasn't cheap to do all this. But I mean, so far it's been so much better. I don't know how much it actually improved the value of the trailer, but it improved our lives.
For sure.
So if you want to learn more about details of this renovation, we have a bunch of pictures on our blog. We're going to put a link to that in the description of this video, so please check that out when you get a chance.
Yeah, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the little notification button if you enjoy our videos, and as always, thank you for watching.
Thanks.